All right, thank you. So now, I remember last week I was able to explain in detail adjectives, and I went further to also explain adjectival order. Okay, that is, if you have about 4 to 5 adjectives in a sentence, how are you supposed to arrange them such a way that each of the adjective will best qualify the noun? And I tried as much as possible to give you a particular formula that you can use, which I tagged with the acronym DOSASCON, if you remember very, very well. And then we're able to experiment with that. And I promised I'm going to give you a classwork today. I hope you still remember. And you might probably just look at your notebook and maybe just review what I've taught if you could not remember very, very well what I've taught, because I'm going to be giving you a classwork which I would like you to attempt. Okay? The essence of the classwork is to enable you to get it right. That is, to get the order of adjectives very, very right. That's the essence. So I'm going to be picking the question from the textbook. I'll illustrate that on the board, and I would like you to attempt it. I hope you still remember adjectival order that I taught last week. Please kindly indicate, let me know. Do you still remember? Please, you can unmute yourself. Do you still remember? Hello? I hope you can hear me. Hello? Okay, okay. All right. So let's start now. So that's a classwork or a drill. So we'd have a drill. Okay. Identify the right ordering, of adjectives. Identify the right ordering of adjectives. Which best qualifies the noun? Which best qualify the noun? So identify the right ordering of adjective, the right ordering of adjectives, which best qualify the noun. I hope you understand this instruction. And let me pick the question here. Let me pick the question so that I can give you to attempt. So this is number 1. So you have, this is number 1. So this is option letter A. So you have, okay. Let me give you, let me write option letter D here. I hope you can see it. So, sorry. I hope you can see the board clearly. All right. All right. I want to write the fifth one below here, but I feel you might not see it clearly. So let me allow you attempt this four first. I will take the correction, then I will add more to it. Okay? So let me allow you take this four. So please, your time starts now. Remember. Remember, this is the instruction. All right, so you're asked to identify the correct ordering of adjectives which best qualify the noun, okay? So that's what you're supposed to do. Remember to apply the dosas con that I taught in getting your answers. Please let me know once you're done writing. All right, 5 minutes left. Yes, please. Do you have a question? Okay, can you speak louder a bit? Sorry. You said number one, there is what? Option letter D. Option letter D, okay? You said there is no words. Can you type it? Let me just read through it. Maybe you just type it on the comment section. Let me read through it. Okay. I'm actually at the message now, so you can type it. I can't really hear you very well. Okay, option letter C, no small there. Okay. So small is here, okay? That's a good observation. An expensive car, fine, new, small German. Yes, you can. Just type it on the comment section. Then we'll look at the corrections together. Okay, okay. Though these are the simple ones that I'm giving you now. The next set of classwork will be a more difficult one, but I just wanted to test your ability. All right, I've seen an answer already from Dorcas and also from Donatus. Okay, no, Donatus' own was just a suggestion or an observation. But I've seen an answer from Dorcas. I'm waiting for others. I'm waiting for others. It's just only one response that I've received so far. I think we would have to look at the correction together because time is spacing faster. All right, please, I would like everybody to pay attention. Like everyone to pay attention. All right, let's do this together. Okay, so I'm going to write, let me indicate the acronym DOSASCON here as a reference. DOSASCON as a reference, okay? Because that's actually what we'll be using to answer majority of the questions here. So DOSASCON is the acronym. Remember that D represents the determiners, okay? An example of determiner here can be the article, that is a, an, all right? You can have THE as well. You can have few, some, they are all determiners. They fall into the category of determiners. And remember, O here represents what? The general adjectives, okay? And what do you mean by general adjectives? You could have, for example, beautiful, handsome, expensive, and the rest of them. They are general adjectives. Then the first S is usually for size. That is telling you how big, can be small, can be big, all right? The A is for age. And age here will refer to whether it is young or old. ancient or modern. Okay. Then shape. Shape can be either square or rectangular. Then C is for color, either blue, white, or red. O is for what? Origin. N is for adjective that function as noun. Then the N is for the actual noun. So that is what we refer to as the Dawes-Ascon formula. You can mute yourself, please. You can mute yourself. If you're not asking any question, you can mute yourself, except if you have any question or you wanted to comment on something. Now, let's start quickly. So we have an expensive, small, fine, new car German. Now, let me give you a logic. The moment the actual noun is being repositioned, anytime the actual noun, which is car, is being repositioned, just know that that particular option can never be the answer. Any moment the actual noun, the main noun, the actual noun itself, anytime it is being repositioned, just bear it in mind that such option can never be the answer. For instance, this car is the actual noun, which is supposed to be positioned at the end. Can you see that now? So here it is being repositioned. Anytime it is being repositioned in that case, just know that such option can never be the answer. Can you see that now? So it can never be the answer. So let's look at B. An expensive, new, fine, small German car. All right, you can retain that. You can retain that. Now look at C. An expensive car, fine, new, small German. The same thing I explained earlier on. The actual noun, which is car, is being repositioned. All right, that is, the main position is supposed to be at the end of the sentence, but here it is being repositioned. Because it's being repositioned, what will happen is that this option can never serve as the answer. All right. Now look at option letter D. An expensive, fine, small, new German car. What do you do in that case? You will need to compare option letter B with option letter D. All right. You need to show a form of comparison and contrast. You show a form of comparison and contrast. Okay. An expensive, fine, small, new German car. You need to show a form of comparison. Okay. So in that case, what are you supposed to do? Now, the first one is determinant, which is and. All right. The O is the general adjective, which is expensive, expensive. So these two are correct. The next one is what? Size. Okay. Let's see. Size. No size there. Size is not present. Age. What's age? New. New is the age. Can you see? New is the age. While this one is talking about fine. Can you see? So new. After new, that's age. You have shape. Shape. Can you see? Shape is what? It's talking about small. Okay. And then what's the next thing? Color. There's no color. Then what's the next thing? Origin, which is German. German. Then what do you have? Noun that functions as adjective. Okay. They are noun, but functioning as adjective, helping to describe the main noun. Okay. Then the actual noun itself. Can you see the actual noun itself? So what you have here is, remember, this is look at the ordering. Determiner first. Both of them, they have determiners. Order of adjective, okay, which is expensive, expensive. Okay. Size. You have fine here and you have new. Okay, there's no size there. Okay. Age. Age. No, there's size actually. Size is small. Size is small. Present. Then look at age. Which one comes next? Age. Age here is new. All right. Can you see it's coming? And here you have what? Age is coming after size, which is a wrong ordering. So here we have determiner, order of adjective. This is age. All right. So fine can also fall into order of adjective as well too. Okay. But remember, the next one again is what? Shape. Shape. Shape here is what? Rectangular. Can you see that now? So shape is not present here. Color. Okay. Color is also not present. Then the next thing again is what? That's origin, German. Can you see? Then now that functions as adjective. They are now but functioning as adjective. Not present there. Then actual noun, which is car. Can you see? So if you compare B and C, you realize that B has a proper ordering of adjectives